What if I told you that your brain might be aging faster than your body and you wouldn't even notice it until it's too late? Most people pay attention to wrinkles on their skin or aches in their joints, but very few think about what's happening inside their head. Yet the brain is the command center of your entire life. And the daily habits you choose either protect it from decline or speed up its aging. The good news is this: you are not stuck with the brain you have right now. You can build a better one starting today. The brain is often called the most powerful organ in the body, yet it is also one of the most neglected. People pay attention to their skin, muscles, or weight when thinking about aging, but rarely consider how quickly the brain itself can wear down if it is not cared for. The truth is that the brain can age faster than the body, and the signs of that decline may not show up until it is already advanced: forgetfulness, poor focus, low energy, anxiety, or even diseases like dementia. What makes this even more striking is that the brain is not destined to fall apart just because the years go by. With daily care, it can stay sharp, vibrant, and capable of creating new connections for as long as you live. One reason the brain can decline so quickly is lifestyle. Modern habits often starve the brain of what it needs most: nutrients, oxygen, rest, and stimulation. Processed foods, high sugar diets, and chronic stress create inflammation that damages neurons. Lack of sleep prevents the brain from detoxifying and repairing itself. Sedentary living reduces blood flow, starving the brain of oxygen and vital nutrients. Add to that the constant overstimulation from screens and the lack of meaningful mental challenges, and you have the perfect recipe for accelerated brain aging. Many people assume this decline is inevitable, but research shows otherwise. The brain is designed with neuroplasticity, meaning it can adapt, grow, and strengthen itself at any age if given the right conditions. Daily care makes all the difference. Choosing foods rich in antioxidants, omega-3 fatty acids, vitamins, and minerals literally feeds the brain the building blocks it needs to repair and protect itself. Exercise doesn't just shape muscles, it floods the brain with oxygen and triggers the release of chemicals that keep neurons alive and help them form new pathways. Quality sleep acts like a nightly cleaning crew, clearing away waste products that would otherwise damage the brain over time. Stress management practices, whether deep breathing, meditation, or prayer, calm the overactive parts of the brain and prevent them from burning out. Even learning something new, whether a language, a musical instrument, or a skill, creates fresh connections that keep the mind young. What is truly inspiring is that the brain responds quickly to positive change. Within weeks of improving your sleep or diet, you can notice sharper focus, better memory, and more emotional stability. Within months of consistent movement and mental stimulation, the brain can grow stronger, more resilient, and more adaptable. Even those who already show signs of decline can improve by adopting habits that fuel brain health. The choices may seem small, but they compound powerfully over time. The brain does not simply reflect age in years, it reflects how you have lived. Neglect will accelerate decline, but care will preserve strength. Every day is an opportunity to either speed up or slow down brain aging. By choosing to nourish, challenge, and protect it, you are not only preserving your memory and focus, you are protecting the very essence of who you are. The body may grow older with time, but with the right habits, the brain can remain sharp, alive, and full of potential long into the future. The food you eat does far more than fill your stomach. It literally shapes how your brain functions every single day. What many people don't realize is that the brain is the hungriest organ in the body, using up about 20% of the body's total energy, even though it only makes up a small fraction of total body weight. This means that every bite of food you consume sends a message to your brain. It either builds focus, memory, and resilience, or it slowly chips away at clarity, mood, and long term health. Among all the dietary choices we make, reducing sugar and processed food stands out as one of the most important steps to protect the brain from premature decline. Sugar may give you a quick burst of energy, but it does so at a high cost. When sugar enters the bloodstream, it causes a rapid spike in blood glucose. The brain, which depends on a steady stream of fuel, gets overwhelmed by these highs and crashes during the lows that follow. These swings disrupt focus, concentration, and mood stability. Over time, high sugar intake contributes to insulin resistance, which means the cells, including those in the brain, struggle to use glucose efficiently. This starves the brain of its preferred energy source, leaving you with foggy thinking and reduced memory capacity. Worse still, insulin resistance and chronic high blood sugar are now linked with neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, sometimes referred to as type 3 diabetes. Processed foods are just as harmful. Packaged snacks, fast food, refined grains, and artificial additives might be convenient, but they are stripped of the nutrients the brain needs to reuse, to repair itself and thrive. Instead, they are loaded with unhealthy fats, excessive salt, and chemicals that drive inflammation. Inflammation is the silent enemy of brain health. It damages delicate neurons, disrupts communication between brain cells, and accelerates aging processes inside the brain. A diet heavy in processed foods is like pouring sludge into a finely tuned engine. It clogs the system and slows everything down. On the other hand, when you reduce sugar in processed foods, your brain begins to function as it was designed. Nutrient dense foods like leafy greens, wild salmon, walnuts, blueberries, and avocados supply antioxidants, omega-3 fatty acids, and vitamins and minerals that protect neurons from damage and promote the growth of new connections. These foods stabilize blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and support neurotransmitter balance, which directly improves mood, focus, and memory. Even small shifts like replacing soda with water, choosing whole grains over refined, or snacking on nuts instead of chips create measurable improvements in brain performance. The most inspiring truth is that change doesn't take years. Within days of cutting back sugar, many people notice steadier energy and sharper mental clarity. Within weeks, mood swings ease, sleep improves, and focus strengthens over time. These consistent choices don't just improve how you feel, they protect your brain from the kind of damage that leads to long term decline. Food is not neutral, it is either nourishing your brain or harming it. Every time you sit down to eat, you are making a choice about the future of your memory, focus, and emotional well-being. By reducing sugar and processed foods, you aren't just protecting your brain, you are investing in the clarity, creativity, and vitality that allow you to fully live your life. Sleep is often seen as a time of rest when the body and mind shut down, but science reveals a much deeper truth. Quality sleep is an active process that functions as the brain's most powerful detox and repair system. While you sleep, your brain is not idle. It is at work cleaning, restoring, and strengthening itself in ways that are impossible when you are awake. Without this nightly repair, the brain begins to accumulate toxins, lose efficiency, and age more quickly. This is why poor sleep doesn't just leave you feeling tired. It directly impacts memory, mood, focus, and long-term brain health. One of the most remarkable discoveries about sleep is the glymphatic system, a network in the brain that becomes highly active during deep rest. Throughout the day, as brain cells fire and process information, waste products naturally build up. One of these wastes is beta amyloid, a sticky protein strongly linked to Alzheimer's disease when it accumulates. During quality sleep, Brain cells actually shrink slightly, creating channels for cerebrospinal fluid to flow freely and wash away these toxins. It is as if your brain has a built in cleaning crew that only shows up when you are asleep. Missing out on deep sleep means this cleanup doesn't happen properly, leaving behind debris that slowly erodes brain function. But detox is only one part of the story. Sleep is also the time when the brain repairs itself and strengthens its internal wiring. Neural connections formed during the day are reviewed and either reinforced or pruned away depending on their importance. This process, known as memory consolidation, is why a good night's sleep improves learning, creativity, and recall. Without it, your brain struggles to hold onto new information, and you find yourself forgetting things, losing focus, or feeling mentally scattered. Sleep also restores emotional balance. During deep rest, stress hormones like cortisol decline, while neurotransmitters such as serotonin and dopamine are recalibrated. This is why sleep deprivation so often leads to irritability and anxiety and poor judgment. When you are well rested, the emotional centers of your brain communicate better with the rational decision making parts, allowing you to stay calm and think clearly under pressure. In this way, sleep acts as a natural therapy session that resets your mood every night. Physical repair is another critical function. Growth hormone, which is essential for cell repair and regeneration, peaks during deep sleep. This not only benefits the body, but also strengthens the brain by repairing damaged tissues and supporting the survival of healthy neurons. Sleep also improves blood flow and oxygen delivery to the brain, ensuring it has the resources needed to repair itself fully. The effects of skipping quality sleep show up quickly. Even one night of poor rest can impair concentration, slow reaction times, and cloud judgment over weeks and months. Poor sleep raises the risk of memory decline, mood disorders, and chronic illnesses that accelerate brain aging. Yet the opposite is also true. Improving sleep hygiene by keeping a consistent bedtime, reducing screen time before bed, and creating a dark, quiet environment can rapidly restore brain health. Sleep is not a luxury to cut back on when life gets busy. It is an essential nightly ritual that keeps the brain young and resilient. By treating quality sleep as sacred, you give your mind the chance to detoxify, repair, and prepare you for a sharper, healthier tomorrow. In the end, a good night's sleep is the most powerful brain medicine available, and it's completely free. The human brain may weigh only a few pounds, but it consumes more energy than any other organ in the body, demanding a constant supply of oxygen and nutrients to function well. One of the most powerful ways to meet these demands is through movement and exercise. When you move your body, you are not just building stronger muscles or burning calories. You are directly fueling your brain with circulation, oxygen, and powerful growth factors that keep neurons alive and thriving. Without regular physical activity, the brain begins to suffer, losing efficiency, clarity, and resilience over time. Exercise, on the other hand, is like fertilizer for the mind, stimulating growth and repair at every level. When you engage in exercise, blood flow throughout the body increases, delivering a steady stream of oxygen and glucose to the brain. This surge acts like fresh fuel, waking up sluggish neurons and giving them the energy to fire more effectively. That is why even a short walk can clear brain fog, improve focus, and lift mood almost instantly over time. Consistent movement builds a healthier network of blood vessels in the brain, reducing the risk of strokes, dementia, and other age-related decline. A better circulation also means that waste products are cleared away more efficiently, preventing the buildup of toxins that contribute to neurodegeneration. Beyond circulation, exercise stimulates the release of a powerful protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. This growth factor is often described as miracle grow for the brain because it protects existing neurons and encourages the growth of new ones. BDNF strengthens synaptic connections, the tiny communication bridges between neurons that make memory and learning possible. Higher levels of BDNF are linked to sharper focus, improved mood, and reduced risk of conditions like Alzheimer's disease. The decline of BDNF, on the other hand, is often seen in people who live sedentary lifestyles or struggle with depression. Regular movement naturally boosts this protective chemical, creating a brain that is more resilient and adaptable. Exercise also reduces inflammation. One of the silent threats to brain health, sedentary living, poor diet, and chronic stress create low-grade inflammation that damages neurons and accelerates brain aging. Physical activity lowers inflammatory markers and restores balance to the immune system, which in turn safeguards the brain from unnecessary wear and tear. Alongside this, exercise regulates hormones and neurotransmitters, increasing serotonin, dopamine, and endorphins that elevate mood and calm anxiety. These brain chemicals are not only about feeling good in the moment, they also protect neurons from dying prematurely. What makes exercise so powerful is that it doesn't have to be extreme to have an impact. A brisk daily walk, light strength training, yoga, or dancing all provide measurable benefits to brain circulation and chemistry. The key is consistency, not intensity. Every session of movement acts as a vote for your brain's future health, building resilience day by day. In contrast, neglecting movement starves the brain of oxygen and nutrients, weakens blood vessels, and lowers protective growth factors. Over years, this accelerates cognitive decline and robs people of clarity, memory, and independence. Choosing to move daily is one of the simplest and most accessible ways to safeguard brain vitality. Exercise is not just about physical appearance. It is about mental survival. Every step you take, every muscle you move is an investment in the life of your neurons. With circulation, oxygen, and growth factors on your side, your brain has the fuel it needs, not just to survive, but to thrive, staying sharp, strong, and alive for the journey ahead. Stress is a natural part of life, designed to help us respond to challenges and dangers. In short bursts, stress sharpens focus, boosts energy, and prepares the body for action. But when stress becomes chronic and relentless, it begins to rewire the brain in harmful ways. The constant flood of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline overstimulates the brain's alarm system, leaving a person anxious, restless, and drained. Over time, this not only weakens emotional stability, but also accelerates the aging of the brain itself, leading to memory problems, mood disorders, and even structural shrinkage in key areas such as the hippocampus, which is vital for learning and memory. Yet the hopeful truth is that the brain is not fixed in this state. With intentional stress management practices, it can be rewired to favor calm, resilience, and long-term strength instead of anxiety and decline. The brain's remarkable feature, known as neuroplasticity, allows it to change in response to habits and experiences. This means the way we respond to stress is not set in stone. If a person continually lives in fight or flight mode, the brain builds stronger pathways for fear and worry. But if a person regularly practices calming techniques such as deep breathing, mindfulness, prayer, or gratitude, the brain begins to reinforce new circuits that signal safety and peace. Essentially, every reaction to stress is a training session, teaching the brain what to expect and how to respond. Over time, consistent practices shift the default state of the brain from anxiety to calm, building resilience that protects against future challenges. Managing stress also balances the brain's chemistry. Chronic stress depletes neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which are critical for mood regulation and motivation. It also disrupts sleep, which is essential for mental clarity and emotional stability. Stress management techniques restore balance by lowering cortisol, improving sleep, and supporting the release of calming and mood boosting chemicals. This translates into better focus, steadier emotions, and sharper decision making. In practical terms, this means a person who manages stress well is less likely to overreact, more capable of problem solving, and more likely to bounce back from setbacks quickly. Another critical aspect is the impact of stress on inflammation. Chronic stress inflames the body and brain, risking the risk of anxiety, depression, and neurodegenerative diseases. Practices that lower stress, such as meditation, exercise, time in nature, and meaningful relationships, actively reduce inflammation, protecting neurons and keeping the brain young and healthy. In fact, people who adopt stress reducing habits consistently not only feel calmer, but also show physical changes in brain scans with stronger prefrontal cortex activity and a quieter amygdala, the brain's fear center. Stress management is not about eliminating all difficulties from life. It is about changing the brain's relationship to them. A stressful life without tools leads to decline, but a stressful life with the right habits becomes a classroom for resilience. Every breath, every moment of calm practice rewires the brain toward strength. With time, the brain can learn that peace is its natural state. And instead of breaking down under pressure, it grows more capable and resilient. Stress may be inevitable, but decline is not. By managing stress, you are not just calming your mind, you are protecting your brain's future and unlocking a greater capacity for clarity, balance, and vitality. The brain is often compared to a muscle, and in many ways, that comparison holds true. Just like muscles weaken from lack of use, the brain can also lose strength if it is not challenged and stimulated. One of the most powerful ways to keep the brain sharp and resilient is through lifelong learning and cultivating positive environments. These two factors not only keep mental circuits alive, but also strengthen new ones, ensuring that the brain continues to adapt, grow, and protect itself against early decline. Unlike the old belief that brain function inevitably diminishes with age, modern science shows that the choices we make and how we use our mind and shape our environment play a significant role in preserving clarity and focus well into later years. Lifelong learning is more than formal education. It is the ongoing process of challenging the brain with new information, skills, and experiences. When the brain encounters something unfamiliar, neurons fire and build new pathways, and connections between existing circuits are strengthened. This process, known as neuroplasticity, is what allows the brain to adapt and grow stronger over time. Learning a new language, picking up a musical instrument, reading thought provoking books, or even solving puzzles stimulates different regions of the brain, preventing stagnation. These activities act like mental workouts, keeping the brain agile and flexible. They also protect against diseases like Alzheimer's by building what scientists call cognitive reserve, a store of strong brain connections that help the mind withstand damage and continue functioning even under stress. Equally important is the environment in which the brain operates. A positive, stimulating environment feeds the mind with energy and possibilities, while a negative or toxic one drains and weakens it. Surrounding yourself with supportive relationships, uplifting conversations, and encouraging influences helps to lower stress and enhance mood. Chronic stress and negativity damage the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, which are critical for memory and decision making. In contrast, environments filled with encouragement, curiosity, and optimism create fertile ground for the brain to thrive. Even small choices like keeping your home filled with natural light, listening to inspiring music, or spending time in nature can shift brain chemistry toward growth and resilience. It is also worth noting that the combination of learning and environment creates a feedback loop. When you seek out new knowledge, you often expand your circle of influences, connecting with people and ideas that challenge and uplift you. In return, these positive environments make you more open and motivated to continue learning. This cycle protects against boredom, isolation, and the mental stagnation that often precedes decline. Instead of shrinking with age, the brain continues to expand its connections, staying vibrant and engaged with life. The truth is that mental decline is not simply a product of age, it is often the result of neglect. By committing to lifelong learning and intentionally cultivating positive environments, you give your brain the stimulation and nourishment it needs to remain strong. Every book read, every new skill attempted, every encouraging voice listened to builds a stronger network of neurons. Over years, these choices accumulate, protecting you from decline and ensuring that your later years are marked not by fading memory, but by wisdom, clarity, and vitality. The brain was designed to grow for a lifetime, and it will if we continue to feed it with knowledge and surround it with